You see, I'm trying to get used to my various screens here. Just hang on a minute. Let's try this camera. That's a little bit better. And I'll take care of the fact I look like a ghost. That's a little bit, well. That's a little bit better. They now have 3 external monitors. This is like being in a NASA control room. But I've got to figure out how to use all 3. So, okay, let's go ahead and offer the mandala. So please make the mudra. Everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Here is the great earth filled with the smell of incense and covered with a blanket of flowers. The great mountain of 4 continents wearing the jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratnam Dalakam Niryatayame. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened side of truth, and the Sangha, the community of realized beings. By the virtuous merit I create from the practice of giving with the understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with the understanding of emptiness, patience with the understanding of emptiness, joyous effort with the understanding of emptiness, concentration and wisdom, may I attain the state of a Buddha for the benefit of all living beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened side of truth, and the Sangha, the community of realized beings. From the virtuous merit I create from the practice of giving with the understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with the understanding of emptiness, patience with the understanding of emptiness, joyous effort with the understanding of emptiness, concentration and wisdom, may I attain the state of a Buddha for the benefit of all living beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened side of truth, and the Sangha, the community of realized beings. From the virtuous merit I create from the practice of giving with the understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with the understanding of emptiness, patience with the understanding of emptiness, joyous effort with the understanding of emptiness, concentration, wisdom, I will attain the state of a Buddha for the benefit of all living beings. Okay, I just have to take a small break here and take some medicine. See, today is Tuesday. Today happens to be my lovely wife's 70th birthday. So we had a nice birthday breakfast. Now, why are you guys cut off? That's interesting. Well, I don't like that. Go to gallery. There we go. Much better. It's much nicer to see your heads not halfway cut off. Okay, let's see. Rejoicing. Let's start with Svetlana. Whoops, I don't have my translation. There we go.
Yeah, I would like to rejoice in the fact that today is Lama Surani's birthday, and Yeah, we have an opportunity to congratulate her, and I sent her just email greetings. Yeah, and that I just very, very grateful that we all have you and Lama Sarani in our lives, and you are teaching us. And I'm very grateful for that and want to rejoice in it more.
Well, it's very sweet of you. We're very happy to be in your lives. Okay, Natalia, what do you have to rejoice in?
Thank you. I'm very, very happy. I'm extremely happy because yesterday I had the privilege to send the money we collected for nuns in Tibet, one of the monasteries in Tibet. And I had the privilege to send the money from USA to Western Union in Kathmandu, Tibet. So I'm very happy about that. And
Wow.
they will be buying like very basic necessity things for women, including medicine, like for headache, for cuts, just basic things. But it's very good for me. I mean, I've done Dharma before. I've done volunteering before and helping, but this time I don't know why. It felt very like something very big.
Well, you're doing it with wisdom now, much, much more wisdom, knowing that by being generous to others and helping others be generous to others, you're setting the seeds for generosity in your life. So that's very exciting. I know the feeling. That's a wonderful feeling. Okay, next on my list is Allah. Allah. Allah.
Да, здравствуйте.
Good, hello, everyone. I would like to rejoice, as always, that I'm alive, that I have a place where to live, I have something to eat, I have an opportunity to make exercises in comfortable conditions in order to reduce my habits of mental afflictions, to be angry about what I dislike and be overexcited about something liking, and do it in comfortable conditions in meditation or in daily life. For example, a dog is barking and I understand that my irritation is ignorant, and I'm trying not to do it, to remove it. I understand that it comes from ignorant thoughts.
Very good. That touches on something I'm going to rejoice in a few minutes. Okay, Evgeny. Hello, there you are.
Добрый день кому-то.
Good afternoon.
Кому-то ночь.
For someone, good morning. For someone, good night.
Потому что
I would like to rejoice several things that Ella's this class happened, and I can be in the field of my close teachers. One teacher has birthday, and another teacher has a class, and I'm in this sphere, and I can listen these teachings and can spread these teachings. And I would like to rejoice that I can spread this Dharma and listen to it and help others.
Very good. It is amazing what technology allows now. So I agree. Let me see if I can't make me a little more presentable. Well, that's a little bit better. Okay, let's see who's next. Oh, the twins. Okay, let's start with Sheila this time.
Hello, everybody. I also want to rejoice for the Lama Sarani's birthday, and because I have the seeds to be near to an angel that is she, and to another angel that is you, and I am very happy to receive the teachings of Lama Sarani and of you. And this is my rejoice.
Well, it's our pleasure. Thank you for including me. Everybody talks about my lovely wife. Occasionally they talk about me, but that's okay. She's the driving force in my life. So, okay. Gak-ja, what do you have to rejoice in besides your lovely sister?
I I rejoice that I did a financial report that ACI asked for me to do it, and I'm very happy that I can help team with that report. So I'm very happy about that.
I need to turn my volume up. Very good. I know that any help we can give Tim and Ali is much appreciated. So thank you for helping. Okay, Jackie, you're up next.
Thank you. Let's firstly celebrate by singing a quick happy birthday to dear Lama Sarani. If you'd like to join me on 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lama Sarani. Happy birthday to you.
Yay.
Thank you very much, dear Lama Sarani, for the 1,000 Angels in the Heaven of Bliss retreat that we shared, and for being such beauty in our life and our world and sharing the wisdom. Deeply appreciate it. I would like to rejoice for how grateful I feel for having the source of all my good teachings that's available to us, having done it once before, at least more than once, and now coming back to it again and nearly finishing it again, and just hearing the gratitude of having that rejoiceables from others that are still there that we can always listen to when we feel down, that we have others to lift us up by hearing and being able to celebrate others' successes around our world and our dearest friends.
Very good. I'm glad that's helping. The first thing I want to rejoice in is the wonderful, what do I want to call it? Grateful list of grateful that everybody's provided me. Just absolutely more than I ever thought. The thought that went behind it, the several cases, which I'm not going to publish because they asked me not to, were very, very detailed about instances in their lives that the Dharma has touched and it allowed them to work with. And I was really impressed with that. My rejoiceable is kind of, well, besides having three external monitors and having to play with that, believe me, you haven't had fun until you've tried to figure out how to get the monitors to work with your cursor so you can go whichever direction you want. There's 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, or 24 combinations of the monitors. And it took me about an hour and I finally got it to work. So yay. Then I had patience. I wasn't mad. I called Hewlett-Packard because I have a support contract with them. And I got a hold of a tech and I asked them if they could help. And she goes, nope. There's nothing magic about it. You just have to try all 24 variations of the system, which disappointed me. I thought there'd be some really esoteric way of doing it, but there wasn't. Okay, so my rejoicing. This is a confession in some ways, and it's also a rejoicing. We took, and it's not a criticism of my wife, lest anybody think that. It's the secret of 48 years of marriage is don't criticize your wife. And if she criticizes you, go, of course, dear, I'm completely wrong. I didn't mean to offend. So I say that in jest, and I also say it's true. Well, I'm not always completely wrong, but anyway, back to the story. So we're taking a walk down to the end of one of our streets to see if we can see the comet in the on the horizon and a missile launch that didn't take place. So we're down there, and my wife, by the time we got down the street, which is about half a mile, I don't walk as fast as I used to. My wife was a block or more ahead of me. And I came to the surface of my mind. I thought, well, what did I do to this? Why is she walking so far in front of me? I could fall down and hurt myself, and she wouldn't know until I called her on the phone. That's terrible. And as I finished saying that's terrible, I went, oh, Sumati, where is this coming from? It's not coming from her. It's coming from me. Because in the past, I walked without respect of how fast she could go or others could go. So it's ripening now. So the last thing I want to do is be mad at her. I should be mad at me. So I don't mind telling that story. That's a good example of, to me, of what we're going to talk about today, which is not just the concept of not something's not self-existent. It's what you do with that in your day-to-day life. So we'll be getting to that in a minute, but I wanted to start with a short meditation as we have been doing in the past. So get comfortable. We're going to try and go for 14, 15 minutes. So there'll be about 2 or 3 minutes per my speaking. I'll try not to talk too much. Try really hard to follow the instructions. Okay, so let me get my timer going. Whoops. Okay, let's watch our breath. We'll do one round of 10. All count. Okay. Take yourself to the golden room on the side of in the cabin on the side of the mountain with that beautiful view of the forest across the valley, the bright blue sky above, and a beam of sunlight beaming down on you and warming you. Sit with your teacher. Feel joy to be meditating with them. They take your hand, feel their touch of their hand in yours. Can you isolate the part of your mind which catches you starting to be distracted? And you catch yourself bringing your mind back to the object? Now feel a contentment, realizing you could stay here for an hour. And this is key. Take nourishment from the contentment as if it was real food for meditation to sustain your mind and body. Okay, you can come back to the room. That was only 8 minutes, but it might have felt like much longer. So what we're going to talk about today, well, first of all, when you tried to see if you could catch yourself being distracted, were you able to do that? Sometimes I can, and those other days I can't. And then were you able to bring yourself back? Hi, Pei Ling.
Good morning, teacher.
So we're still talking about the gotcha that is under your nose. In the retreat that we're taking this lecture from, he used the example of Nick, one of his students, who's sitting in the room, and he's making up a story about Nick. And the story is Nick is accused of stealing books from the bookstore. So, right or wrong, we talk about unjust accusations, but we said there's no such thing. If someone accuses you of something, it's because you did it to someone before. So where in this case is a Nick that doesn't exist? It's not that Nick is not there. There is a Nick that is sitting there. But when the Nick who didn't deserve to be blamed when he got blamed, that Nick is not there. That Nick is the gotcha, the Nick that is not there and never was there, because he's being blamed for stealing books, but that's not up to me. That's his karma ripening for having accused somebody else of stealing something when they didn't. So this is where you really have to take the teaching of the gotcha, the self-existent thing that doesn't exist, and put it into perspective. So when I was on the walk with my wife, the gotcha was that she was disrespecting me by walking ahead of me by so much, not seeming to care where I was. That's the Sarani that didn't exist. The Sarani that does exist is my projection of her based on my past karma for treating people unkindly, in the sense of not caring how fast they were walking. So again, she wasn't there self-existently disrespecting me. That Sarani didn't exist. The one that did exist is the ripening of my karma for mistreating, well, that's not quite the right word, disrespecting her. I used to walk quite fast because I'm 6'3" and have a long stride, and she's 5'2" and has next to no stride compared to mine. So I challenge you all in the next 4 or 5 days before the next class to come up. I better write this down because I keep challenging you guys and then I forget what I challenge you. Okay, this is going to be example of self-existent situation. So like the one I had with my lovely wife, I would challenge you all, would like you all to come up with an example. It can be in the next 4 days, it can be something in the past, and be able to explain this, what the gotcha is, what is there and what isn't, what the gotcha is and what isn't, and we'll do that for everybody. So when you explain it, you say what the non-existence, the not self-existent issue. What is the issue? Then the self-existent part of the issue that isn't there, what couldn't exist, what doesn't exist, and what does exist. This has been happening more and more for both my wife and myself. We're trying to catch ourselves thinking these kind of thoughts and catching ourselves and doing something about it. And it should be easy because I don't know for you guys, but I'm sorry, I just heard the doorbell and my wife's not here. It's the meal that's being delivered, so just give me a minute. I did so. Someone sent us an edible flower arrangement. which isn't really, it's fruit that's arranged like flowers. So that was, the guy was waiting for me. It looked like he had instructions to hand it to me and not let it sit outside. So that was very sweet. I'm looking forward to it. Lots of pineapple. Okay, so so your assignment. One more time, when we go looking for the Nick that was unjustly accused, that Nick doesn't exist. There was a Nick in the room. But the Nick that's sitting there unjustly accused isn't there. There seems to be there, but if we understand karma and emptiness, he isn't there. And that's what causes all the problems in this world. Okay. Now we're going to do another kind of meditation now. This is going to be a Qigong meditation, which is a problem-solving meditation. What we've been doing is Jokgong, which is trying to keep the mind on a single object. For instance, your teacher and the touch of their hands. So go ahead and get comfortable. We won't spend as much time on this the first time. Let's calm our minds by watching our breath. I'll count. We'll do one round of 10. Now think of the biggest challenge in your life. It might be the person you have the most trouble with at work, or the events that you have the most trouble with. So try and identify the biggest challenge in your life right now. Focus on that challenge. Try to find the gotcha that you've been dealing with. Try to locate in the biggest challenge in your life a part of it which doesn't come from you. Or perhaps, better said, what you've been thinking doesn't come from you. It should be the most upsetting part of the challenge. Focus upon the most upsetting part of the challenge. Now try to grasp that you've been Gak-jaing it, how you've been imagining it, that it doesn't come from you and from how you've been acting. Now try to think how you would respond with wisdom. How might you improve things? If for me, someone on a cell phone in the car is bothering me, how could I do less of the thing that's causing the challenge in the next few weeks or so? Okay, go ahead and open your eyes. That's the essence of what I'm asking you to do for next class. So actually, let's even change it a little bit further. I want you all to be teachers eventually in your lives, teachers of the Dharma or teachers of any kind. So what I'd like us to do next week is each one of you, you'll have your example of the thing that you think you're treating as the self-existent object. I want you to lead everybody in a 3 or 4 minute meditation on that. So lead us in watching our breath, and then detail your example, set the scene. What is the self-existent thing that came to your mind, and when did you catch yourself thinking it was self-existent? This shouldn't take more than 4 or 5 minutes each. And don't worry about not being able to do it. This is very simple. It's straightforward. You're just verbalizing your thought process for the assignment. If the only way to get a donut or a pen is to get a donut or a pen, how could we ever get one to give? When we talk about a creator God, we say that he doesn't exist because someone would have had to have made him. If someone asked us this, in fact, I was asked this morning by my students in South Africa. If someone asked us which came first, the chicken or the egg, we'd have to say yes. It's illogical to say there was a chicken first or an egg first, because you can't have a chicken without an egg, and you can't have an egg without a chicken. So we say that in itself is proof that things have no beginning. The universe has to be beginningless. If we have a misperception that to have a cause, it must have a beginning, but rather it is that if it had a beginning without a cause before that, then it would be illogical. So this is hard to wrap our head around, and I understand that, and I have trouble with beginningless time and endless time. But that's one of those things that I believe once I see emptiness directly, I will understand and accept. So like everything else that I can't understand or accept, I put it on the back burner, and I don't dismiss it. I study it from different angles. I try to figure it out. And I know that when I see emptiness directly, that'll make complete and perfect sense to me. So the only way to get a donut is to give a donut away. The only way to get money is to give money. Well, the only way to have money or generosity is I think, is to be generous in the past. So once you might say, well, being generous, how does that mean money? Well, this is my personal take. Being generous will result in many specific responses in your life. The concept of being generous could come back with a generous amount of food, a generous income, a generous opportunity to teach, someone giving you a car, generosity. But the only way to have generosity is to be generous yourself. And since karma grows every 24 hours, it doubles or increases, however you want to look at it. So, well, for instance, in terms of picking up garbage, we took our walk this morning down to breakfast. Oh, this is something. This is another thing I want you all to think about doing. We have a habit of going to this one particular donut store and giving the proprietor $30, $40 and saying the next X number of people get donuts for free. And so we gave the lady today, we gave her, because of my lovely wife's birthday, we gave her $100 bill and said, please use this to pay for the next $100 worth of donuts. And we didn't stick around. We wanted to stick around to see the reaction of people. But we went to breakfast and we were looking out the window. My wife was facing the way the other store was. She kept waiting. A guy went in and she kept waiting and waiting and waiting. And then he came out and he had a big smile on his face. And we knew secretly why that was. So you don't have to give $100 or the equivalent of $100. We call it paying it forward. If I've been generous in doing that, then at some point in the future, I'll have generosity bestowed on me. Now, one could argue that we wouldn't see that right away. But if I've been generous in the past, that generosity could ripen soon after I was generous in the present, and I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. And you don't have to. The fact that you're generous in the past, ripening to have generosity in the present, amen. Who cares if it was from past or present? Too much time is spent worrying about that. Be generous, do the 10 virtuous deeds, keep your bodhisattva vows, and who knows when it's going to ripen. If you don't do it, it won't ripen in your future. Something else will ripen, maybe generosity in the past, but that could all wear out. Then you're stuck with not being generous. So, for instance, I want to have a wonderfully pristine, pure environment in my paradise. The only way for that to happen, in my opinion, is to pick up garbage in the street and throw it out. Well, I saw a couple of pieces today. My wife beat me to picking up some of them. But I saw one piece, a paper towel, and I leaned over to pick it up, and someone had blew their nose in it. Now, that was disgusting in many ways. So I could have left it there. Of course I wouldn't leave it there. I carefully picked it up. My lovely wife said, I'll hold it for you. And I said, no, you won't. I was going to make a joke here, but well, I'm going to try this joke on you. I told her it's not a problem. Snot a problem? Okay. That's what comes out of your nose in the English language is called snot, S-N-O-T. So if you say it is not a problem, but you slur it to say it's not a problem, that's a joke. Okay, that's not the funniest joke I've ever told. But anyway, so then I could have said, well, I'm not going to pick up that because it's disgusting. Well, I'm setting the seeds to have more disgusting garbage in my life. If I'm going to pick up garbage, I have to pick up garbage. I can't be discriminating about it. So that's that story. Okay, let's see where else. So the question is asked, if you've never seen emptiness directly, well, the question is, how can something new come into being or happen, like enlightenment? There's a discussion of this in the Abhidharma Kosha. They discuss what you see when you see emptiness directly for the first time. So if you've never had in countless lifetimes a direct perception of emptiness, why is it here? Which is why you're here in the first place, in the suffering realm. How can you ever have a direct perception of emptiness? Because that's a mental image you've never had before. In the scriptures, they would say you haven't yet encountered the causes that would produce that image, but that image is not only produced by another image of the teacher, which I would call the new rearrangement of existing stuff, which would disprove the argument that everyone's been your mother. Let's discuss that. Even though you've had countless chances to do so, you haven't seen emptiness directly. Geshe Michael says, when you see emptiness directly for the first time, it's because of two factors that the instruction of your teacher, in a way, have never had before, even though your lives were countless. So it's something like that you rearrange existing images in a new way and come up with a new experience. And Geshe Michael stresses that's his idea. He's not read that in the scripture. So I haven't seen emptiness directly. So how am I possibly going to understand what emptiness directly is? How am I going to see it if I haven't had that karma before? Well, from what Geshe was saying, I will be taught by my teacher and other teachers sufficient detail of all of this, and it will drop into place, and I'll see emptiness directly, even though I haven't seen it in the past. So, how does this, another way of looking at this? And Ken Rinpoche, Geshe-la's art teacher, had really loved baseball. And he liked the Yankees because he was in New York. And well, he lived outside of New York. So he's a Yankee supporter. And there was a star player called Darryl Strawberry. And Darryl Strawberry could hit massive home runs and did so quite frequently. So the question was asked, how can you possibly concentrate so hard on a baseball the size of my fist coming at you at 100, maybe 100 miles per hour? And literally, some pitchers can throw the ball at 100 miles an hour. I tried to play slow pitch softball. I couldn't hit a ball worth beans, and that wasn't coming anywhere near at that speed. So Darryl Strawberry said, well, I'm not sure this happens for everybody else, but this is what happens for me. My concentration is such that I see the ball leave the pitcher's hand this big, and when it crosses the plate, it's this big. I can't miss it. So I hit it and it goes out of the park. So did he have the karma to see the ball be that big? The previous experience of a baseball being that big? No, probably not. It was a new image that he synthesized from previous images. So maybe he said to himself, if I could see the ball being the size of a watermelon, I should be able to hit it very easily. And his karma ripened for his imagination to do that. So again, he synthesized something he'd never seen before from things that he had seen. So that's one way to answer the question about seeing emptiness directly if you've never seen it before. So when you come to a teaching such as we're having today, or other teachings you've been to, and you get inspired, you start collecting the new good karma. There's this paradox that I guess I like to compare it to planes in line at an airport to take off. The first one in is the first one out. So karma, normally given equal circumstances, the karma which you committed earlier will ripen first. So now you're seeing the light and you're only going to do good things. But you've got all these old airplanes in front of these new ones, and they have to take off first. So what will delay, that will delay the ripening, if we're going to use the analogy. The old bad karmas, ignorant karmas in front of you, in the front of your mind, will delay the ripening of the new thoughts, the new karmas. So that explains the problem of the new goodness and the goodness that's come to you 2.5 years from now. It's too long a wait for you to draw a surefire connection and be inspired to do good. So it's a very, very bad state of affairs for the ignorant. You come to a talk, you get all inspired, you do all these good things, and nothing happens for a couple of years. That friend of mine has been trying to find a spiritual partner for now almost, let's see, 2009. So what, 15 years? She frets that she's never going to find one. And does this stuff really work? And Geshe-la's response has always been, you have the karma ripening still for not having a spiritual partner. But that doesn't mean it's not going to ripen that you'll have a spiritual partner. You're getting all these other karmas of not helping others find what they need. Those are ripening. And the very fact that you're now trying to help someone find what they need is setting the karmas that eventually will come to the front of the line of airplanes and ripen. So the only thing you can do to speed that process up is to do the 4 powers of purification. Damage the seed that you don't want to have ripen so that it ripens more quickly and it doesn't ripen in a way that harms you. And you're getting rid of, in fact, you can get rid of it completely from what I now newly understand. If you do a 4 powers right away after you do the bad deed or the somewhat wrong deed, you can destroy it completely. So that's where the 4 powers of purification, 4 forces of purification, have to be in the front of your mind as you do something wrong. So what are the 4 powers of purification? Can any one of you tell me what they are? Okay, Jackie.
Refuge, going to think of karma and emptiness, recognizing what you've done and how it relates. Regret, intelligent regret, rather than being thinking badly of it, but really acknowledging your mistake and in almost rejoicing for your mistake because you can admit your mistake. And restraint, recognizing and coming up with understanding that you're going to be more controlled to that situation and addressing how. And then remedy, your antidote to how you're going to be able to being aware of it and being conscious of it and trying to make sure that you help to prevent continuing the same response and behavior.
Very good. A key to the restraint is to make it realistic. If I was going to say, I'm never going to eat 2 bowls of ice cream ever again in my life, well, that's not going to happen. But I could say, I'm not going to have a second piece of birthday cake tonight. Well, okay, maybe I will. I won't have a third piece of birthday cake tonight, and I won't eat it tomorrow until Sarani says, what do we have for dessert? Now I can do that, but to say I won't have an extra piece of cake tonight, I mean, I could do that, but I'm thinking there are no calories in the second piece of cake for someone's birthday. I don't know if any of you are nutritionists, you probably don't believe that, but I do. If you're celebrating someone's birthday, cake has no calories, period, self-existently. Well, obviously that's not true, but that's how I think about it. Okay. So what else do I want to talk about in terms of that? Okay, here's something. You have to constantly dedicate the dedication of the seed is what directs to the previous seed and destroys the previous seed. Two things are necessary. Make a resolution you will not do the thing again. And then secondly, constantly dedicated to destroying the old karma seed that you know you have. That's the essence of the four powers. So again, make a resolution that you will not do that thing again for a certain period of time. And then secondly, consciously dedicate it to destroying an old karmic seed which you know you have. That's the essence of the four powers. So my getting mad at someone with a cell phone is ripened. That's ripened. It's gone. The opportunity to get mad is gone. So what I need to say is, okay, that seed ripened. I got kind of angry. I know that's going to make a seed ripen in my future. So instead, I say, because I know it's the wrong thing to do, and because I don't want it to ripen that way, my remedy is to think very direct, very clearly, my understanding of karma and emptiness to the situation. So I got mad at someone with their cell phone or a tablet when they're driving. Okay. I go through the four powers of purification. And at the end, I say, because of my understanding of karma and emptiness, I know that getting mad at that cell phone person on their cell phone was coming from me, is coming from me. And I can stop that from happening again because of my knowledge of the wisdom of karma and emptiness. So have you actually destroyed the seed, or have you destroyed the propensity to think of it self-existently? I would say, and this is just me, I would say you're destroying the seed to see it as self-existent. Okay.
May I ask you a question at some stage?
Sure.
If you found yourself, because I know you do lots of research, dearest Lama Sumati, and you find yourself completely immersed in your experience, where you find that it's when you realize it's an obsession and you sort of feel so attached to that circumstance that you think the gotcha you would be thinking is that your research is creating you to feel attached to that, rather than recognizing that you're actually creating that experience from your past, from being focused, overly focused and selfish. And then you have a family member come in that wants to go for a walk and you're still focused on, I want to get this research done, when they want to spend some time with you. And how would you remedy that?
Have you been talking to my wife? I'm kidding, Jackie. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Well, I tell you what,
Like a confession, really.
I'm doing what I'm doing now. As of today, I was given permission to work on this new book, even though she's calling herself a book widow again. What I'm doing, I'm trying very hard to do, is when she comes in to say, do you want to take a walk? I say, yes, let's go for a walk. Knowing that and not just saying yes to make her happy. No, I'm setting in the seeds in my mind to make her happy means in the future, she might say, I know you're busy, so let's take a walk when you're done. So is she saying that, or am I generating the karma to have that ripen for me? Well, it's obviously I'm generating the karma to see her because I accommodated her wishes. I'm setting the karma to see her, to project her accommodating my wishes versus saying, no, thanks, I'm in the middle of the thought. I don't want to do that. Now, sometimes on some of my research, I will lose the thread and I'll have to start over again. But that's the difference between my last book and this book. It's okay if I lose the thread. I can find it again. That's not it. And if I can't, then that's the way my karma ripens. If I want to set her being content with whatever project I'm doing, I have to be sure to set the seeds to see that. And what that means is make her needs and wishes at least as important, if not more so, than mine. Now, do I tell her that? No, I don't, because it's irrelevant to her. What's relevant is that I have the wisdom to realize where the kind of things I want in the future are going to come from my present. So my past is my present is my future. And I'm using that phrase, that metaphor, that whatever, to assure that in my future I'll have the kind of situations I want. There's no other way I'm going to get that. No other way. She isn't going to generate that environment. I am. And when I get over this idea that she's bugging me to go for a walk, I don't want to go for a walk. I'm in the middle of doing something. That's my ignorance, thinking she's trying to get me to do something I don't want to do, when it's my karma ripening for having ignored someone important to me in the past. And it's coming to ripen now on me when I don't want it. So that's the whole idea of not only thinking things aren't self-existent, but catching yourself reacting to things as being self-existent. We all do it. Well, I can say I do it. I know I do it. I'm working on it, but I need to be vigilant. This is a 24/7 problem we need to resolve. And I personally think the more I do that, the closer I'm getting to seeing emptiness directly, because I'm setting the seeds to always see stuff as being empty of self-existent, and not even having maybe having just the slightest inkling of them being self-existent, which I cannot get rid of until, what's the bhumi that is? The 10th bhumi. No, before the 10th bhumi, before coming and becoming totally enlightened, you still have the subtle obstacle to enlightenment, and that is the deep held belief that's way down in your psyche that things are self-existent. This is the example I use. If someone held a gun to your head and said, if you think things aren't self-existent, I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to kill you. And this is where you would say to yourself, go ahead and shoot me. Things aren't self-existent. I may have the karma to stop your gun from going off. I may not. Okay, let me see if that's where I want to stop for today.
And can we also allow for Pei-Ling to share her rejoiceable, because she wasn't able to share it earlier?
Oh, okay. Pei-Ling, what's your rejoiceable?
Oh, I rejoice today. I'm able to wake up early, and I am very, very thankful I'm in your class today to hear you teach emptiness. Your class is super powerful.
Is she listening to me or is she listening to somebody? What time is it? What time did you have to get up?
Class is start at 5 o'clock. I wake up at 4:58.
4:58. Sounds like me. 4:58. Well, I'm starting to teach in Malaysia, my Malaysian students at 5 o'clock in the morning, my time, starting Friday. So I finally got it figured out. If I get to bed before midnight, I can get up at 5. Took me about 20 years to figure that out, but I finally did. So, okay, so you all clear on what we're doing for a homework assignment? We're going to come up with a example of self-existence and your response to did you catch, and if you didn't catch yourself and stop at mid thought, that's okay. We're working toward that goal. Okay.
May I ask you a question about a retreat that your experience on a retreat?
Oh, I guess so.
When you were on retreat, if you're able to share and would like to share, what were the items? Because we want to bring limited things. Did you actually have a timer? Because now we have phones, but we want to avoid using phones. And what were the personal items that you found got you through retreat well?
Well, I did have a timer. Let me see if I can find it. It's an ENSO timer, ENSO. And you can set it to chime.
Okay.
You can set various intervals, like you can set 5 minutes for preliminaries and then 10 minutes for your first meditation, and a chime goes off and you know it's time to see if you're still on your object. Let me go get it for you. It's right on my altar. This is an early version of it. And the setting it up is much simpler now. Where's my camera? Well, it's upside down. There we go. So you can set various intervals. You can set various sequences. You can set up to 3 meditation. You can set up a lot of intervals, but you can set up 3 different meditation times for 3 different types of meditation. So I use that often to begin with in 3-year retreat. But then I just worked on it for myself because I was meditating on the Tara Sadhana, and that didn't require a timer for me. But yeah, if you take your cell phone, you're going to be tempted. So I would get a digital alarm, digital timer that you can set an alarm on. So, any other questions? One of these days, we're going to have a full 2 hours of lecture, but I like to do about an hour because some of this material is pretty thought-provoking, and I don't want to overload you guys with stuff that's going to make it difficult to work with. So, okay, we're in lecture 12. There are a total of 30, so we're making progress. Next week, I'm going to make a note here. Next week, we'll go over the poster as well as some other stuff. So let me just make a note here about that.
Thank you for the extra question time. It's much appreciated.
No, certainly.
I
Okay.
like your I
Go
like
ahead.
your speech. I like your speech. Put a gun on my head. If I see things have self-existence, I will shoot myself.
I was talking to my students from South Africa, and at one point, I sat back, and my head looked like it was coming out of the water of the pond. They thought it looked like a frog. I thought it was pretty funny. Okay, dedication. Through this merit, may we soon attain the enlightened state of Guru Buddha so that we may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the source of benefit and goodness, the Dharma, spread and expand. May the beings upholding the Dharma have excellent health. May the source of happiness and well-being for all embodied beings, the Dharma taught by the Buddhas, always increase. And may the merit of my life and my practice be for the benefit of all my students without exception. Thank you for the chance to lead you through this somewhat difficult material. It's a responsibility I don't take lightly, and I'm hoping that this week's assignment will ripen quickly into a very profound chance for you to put your practice into practice and begin yet another chapter of solving the mystery of how to become enlightened in your lifetime. Okay.
Have a lovely cake.